All right, y'all. So we're back at Mary's. Food Forest project is over there, the established one. And we're back here again at the very back of a property at the abandoned Longan Grove. And we have a cool update for this part of the property. The last video I also made about this part of the property, and I was just sort of opening up this back area because it was drowning in invasive species. There was tons of muscadine grape, Brazilian pepper, Caesar weed, smilax, just a bunch of stuff back here. So I'll put the little link up there so you can see the before and after. But long story short, we got a skid steer operator to come, and originally he was just going to spread mulch for the main food forest system up there. But we decided to just go ahead and open this area up. And so this back area that originally was just a little trail maintenance project that kind of just opened up enough of a trail to go from tree to tree. Remember that big avocado tree is what I highlighted in the last video. Has now turned into a bigger project, a more just fully formed project. So there's a lot of things that I've been doing and thinking about to reclaim this area now that we have it opened up. And I want to kind of just show you guys a little bit of the work that the guy did. He did an excellent job. And I'm grateful that it's sunny right now because it kind of makes it a little bit easier to see why I'm working in this area. You can see how sunny it is here. So I'll get back to that, but he did an awesome job leaving most of the mature trees and mulching on the ground. So with the forestry mulcher. Awesome ambiance back here. Again, me and Miri are very passionate about wildlife and helping out the critters. So we want this back area to be an abundant place for wildlife as well as for us, for humans. So you can see a lot of things are coming back, but I'll talk about that later. So I mean, just an excellent job. It's so awesome to walk back here now. It's amazing. Everything's so opened up. What was once just this huge mats of like muscadines and all these vines that just smother the ground is now open ground, and it's awesome. So this is a big ficus, a Bodhi tree, Ficus religiosa, I think it is. Beautiful tree. Gonna have closer access to it. Still tons of smilax growing up it though. Here's a jackfruit that was hidden back here, now opened up now that we got everything cleared. Super beautiful, but also still getting swallowed by some vines. So just wanted to show a little bit of the beautiful job that the skid steer operator did. Just nice and open. Should definitely see the video I made before because you'll see the drastic difference in access alone. So opened up a bunch of these longans. Seems like a mild winter so far. We've been having a lot of moisture and rain, which is pretty uncommon for this time of year. I'm extremely grateful for it though. Can't complain. Might keep the frost at bay if we keep getting moisture rich days like this. He couldn't get to the huge things like some of these Brazilian peppers, and I told him don't worry about it because we'll handle the Brazilian pepper slowly over time. It's not a big deal. we actually instructed him to leave most of these bigger ones as well, like not to worry about them, because we wanted the microclimate aspect of them, and also the potential to use this structure to grow like dragon fruit, or just experiment with stuff. But anyways, let me get back to the place I'm working on. So having big machinery work on your land is a double-edged sword. It's a blessing and a curse. There's lots and lots of pros and some cons. So I'll talk about the pros first. It obviously gives you such a much nicer canvas to work with. This is a lot easier to work with than trying to machete and hack through thick mats of, vines that are just gnarly and spiky. So that is just a blessing for sure. Also, with the forestry mulcher, you get tons and tons and tons of organic matter spread out. So you have a lot of capital to work with in terms of organic matter. You have just tons and tons of biomass to gather. Some of the cons is that it's a little saying that I have in my head is machine. Like when you use a machine for something, you kind of create machine-sized problems. And we're starting to, because of the sort of wet winter that we've been having, the weeds have been coming back a little bit faster than usual. So we can kind of see that with all the disturbance and the compaction from the machine, a lot of the early succession species like Caesar weed are just coming up everywhere. So there's tons and tons and tons of Brazilian peppers coming up, Bidens coming up, the Caesar weeds coming up, just everywhere. So what was once kind of just like so there's a lot of weeds to combat is what I'm trying to get at when you just work everything with heavy machinery. So it's a blessing and a curse. Like I said, you have this open space, you have all the organic matter to work with, you're freed up. It's not as tiring as trying to do everything by hand. But on the other hand, if you don't take action, Mother Nature's going to take action, because this is a huge disturbance. And we all know what happens after huge disturbances. Weeds will just take over ASAP. And most of the time, they're the weeds that you don't want. So 90% of the time, Caesar weed kind of chokes out everything else. So that's not to say that there are still cool weeds that come back that are much less aggressive and much easier to work with. So that's kind of part of the job here too, whenever you're reclaiming this back area. So I'm kind of doing a combination of, I'm putting a lot of effort in this one area right here, as well as just maintaining and choosing and selecting which weeds, quote unquote, are gonna take hold. So I'm gonna keep the Caesar weed and all the other gnarly weeds at bay, but I'm gonna leave some of these nicer weeds that are just much easier to work with and to walk around. So I'm not sure what this one's called, but it's pretty nice. It's pretty chill compared to some Caesar weeds and muscadines and all that. This one too. This one's a CM weed, I think. Gives a beautiful flower and really nice, easy to work with machete. Pretty much any plants that are easy to like work with a machete and that are nice and soft and have like nice growth habits and all that, I'll be leaving, and then everything else I'll be whacking back. So now let's talk about this area here. So I chose this area. I'm very inspired by the beaver and the work that the beaver does in their ecosystems. So I chose this area because I remember this being a very troublesome spot. There was a lot of Caesar weed. There was a lot of just hard to work with plants. And so the seed load will be that as well. So if I don't do anything here, it will just come right back up. And this is the most exposed sort of full sun part back here. So there is no buffer, there is no shade, there is no sort of organic matter being dumped from these trees over time that stifle the gnarly weeds. Down like under here, I don't have to worry about much because it's nature already has it under control. All this shade, all of these leaves coming down. Like here's another good example. I was thinking about working with this area because it seemed very easy to work with, so very flat and kind of sunny as well. But I decided against it because I want to just focus on one area. That's another strategy that I like to do. Just focus your energy on one area for 1 year, and then maybe next year I'll do this area. And also there's lots of mature pines up here, and all those pine needles falling over time just kind of create a nice mat that stifles weeds. So it's not too much of a problem area. So there's many strategies you can do when you are presented with the situation of having your land cleared like this. And the one I'm opting for is to put forth a lot of effort in the place, in the one spot where I know gnarly weeds are going to come up, and then I can sort of manage everything else in a less intense way. So back to the beaver. I was I didn't really have a plan other than I know that this is where I wanted to work, and I feel like that's kind of what the beaver does as well. It observes where it needs to build they need to build the dam, and that's about it, you know. After that, it's just getting to work, getting the organic matter to the dam site. So as soon as the beavers know where they're gonna put the dam, they're straight away starting to cut wood. And that's kind of what I feel like. I try to channel the inner beaver, and that's what I did here. I just went and got organic matter and brought it here. I didn't have much of a plan, but I know that this is the area I want to work on. And so that's the very first thing I did, was just get as much organic matter as possible from the surrounding area, underneath the trees, anything that's easy. If it's too hard, I move on to another spot. I don't want to exert too much energy trying to gather organic matter. I just go to where there's nice duff, some palm fronds, whatever. You can see there's a little bit of everything. There's palm fronds that are easy to get. There's broken down pine. There's leaves. There's everything. Because in my opinion, there's no point in wasting time trying to like think about a plan or design something for an area, just because Mother Nature is not wasting time doing that. She's already ready to go. Look, you got Caesar weed popping up, Brazilian pepper seedlings everywhere. This is a race against Mother Nature right now, and if I don't get cracking, then Mother Nature's gonna get cracking, and before I know it, this will be a Caesar weed sea. So I just got on it and started putting organic matter here the same way the beaver gets on it, and just starts chopping down trees. And I'd like to believe that while the beaver is chewing away and gnawing at these trees, they're formulating the plans in their head as they're gnawing. And that's kind of what I do. I'm gathering organic material from here, from there, from everywhere. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking about, oh, okay, I can put this here, I can put that there, I can put that there. Instead of like trying to think of a plan in my room, or like trying to take an aerial shot and like thinking of what's gonna go where. I'm trying to get ahead of the game and get the organic matter. So the organic matter helps because it defines where you're going to be planting, right? And it also creates a weed block, a weed barrier. Nothing's going to grow under that. So all this Bidens, all these grasses, all this stuff that's coming up is not coming up there. So having the simple fact of having your places that you're going to plant just already in place, that helps so much. And it's like I did this, I don't know when, I started doing this like a couple days ago, and each day that goes by, it's killing more weeds under there, and insects are starting to crawl in and starting to poop. So it's just like it's a compounding effect that just helps. So when it's time to finally get serious and actually plant, maybe like in a month or so, or maybe after the chance of frost has passed, then I already had half the battle is already done, you know? So yeah, so just always think about the beaver whenever you're presented with a situation like this, or just working with land in general, or trying to start a food forest system in general. That just pick the spot, accumulate organic matter so that you have confirmed that this is where planting is going to be, and then just gather as much as you can, as much material as you can, because having the building blocks, having the material is what's gonna give you the plan, you know. At least that's kind of how I've been seeing it here in Honduras, and just anytime I work with more raw land like this, I always seem to have better results when I don't think about what seeds I should get with this, what timing with that, blah blah blah. When I don't think about that and I just think about, you know, getting the organic matter, building my metaphorical dams, and then having the plants afterwards, I always feel like I always get a better result after that. And it frees my mind too. I don't get overwhelmed and stressed about, oh, but which seed should I get? What plant need to go here? I need that. So yeah, that's all. I'm really excited for this project back here because it's just what I personally love to do. I personally love to come back in areas that are more woodsy, a little bit more wild, and integrate systems into places like these, and especially with no irrigation. So that is another thing about this little project, is that there will be no irrigation as well, or at least minimal irrigation for the start. At least maybe later we'll put some irrigation back here. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of show how I'm going about doing this, and I'm gonna keep making videos about this little section back here because I'm actually very interested in what's gonna come up. There's a lot of beauty berries that are coming up, and different plants that are coming up. So I'm excited to steward this little area back here and see what kind of abundance we can bring back here. So that's all. I'll leave y'all with a little bit of this avocado tree and call it. Peace.